live.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Conscious Conversations. I am your host, Whitney Ghaffari, and we have a fun conversation scheduled and planned for you. It is hot girl summer all damn day. More like a COVID summer, but whatever. We're talking about hair. We're talking about cultural appropriation. We're talking about all of the good, juicy stuff. So sit back, relax, get your tea, do all the things. And I'm going to let my other beautiful co-hosts introduce themselves.
Hi, everybody. I'm Gianna Brittany.
No, I think that's you.
Okay.
I was going to say more, like a little bit about myself. I'm 35, 4 1/4.
Hi everyone, Nate Amor here. I'm really excited to be here. I'm a soul-centered coach and wisdom traditions practitioner, and I love these ladies, so I'm excited to jump into, the history, the cultural appropriation, our own personal stories of being women of color and working with our hair.
Yes, because Lord knows it is such a, relationship struggle. It's a love-hate relationship when it comes to hair. And I don't know. Well, Gianna, you shared before that you used to straighten your hair all the time. Did you ever chemically straighten it, or was it just with heat?
Just with heat. Actually, that's a lie. That is a lie. I had my ex at the time. He did my relaxer. Like, he would do my relaxer every few months. Because I'm like, if I can just relax it, then I can really get it straight with the heat.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember all of this hair that's here now, it was bald. I was just balding. Constantly using the relaxer, constantly using the heat on it. It's tragic. It's tragic what women of color do to their hair.
It is. Nardi, did you ever chemically straighten yours?
Yes. I was literally talking to a friend that now lives on the island with me. And because now I wear my hair naturally curly. And she was like, I didn't even know you had curly hair. Because there was not one day in high school that I would, have my hair curly. And I couldn't because I chemically straightened it and, did the Brazilian blowout and be waking up at 5:30 in the morning to I was obsessed with straightening, making sure it was so straight. So I'm really excited about this conversation because I think what really intrigues me is the why, the why behind that behavior and believing that was what we needed to do, I needed to do to be beautiful or be, to be beautiful.
To be beautiful, to be accepted, because that was huge for me. Definitely beauty. Beauty was definitely the biggest one. But also I wanted to be pretty and I wanted to be accepted and I wanted to make sure that I was palatable for anybody that I came in contact with, which was huge, was because I felt like better job opportunities were going to come to me. I felt like my dating options would be better. I felt like I would have just this I've made it. The more adjacent that I could make myself to whiteness, including straightening my hair and how I talk, there's so many things that were nuanced that went into that. And yeah, it's so frustrating. And beauty standards that are Eurocentric, can we unpack that? Because that is something that, is ultimately what caused me to have my own hair struggles and my own identity crisis, basically, with my hair and dysmorphia, hair dysmorphia really had no connection, no relationship, because I didn't grow up wearing my hair natural. This wasn't something that I got a chance to embrace until I was 25. That's a long ass time. Such a long time. But anyways, those are some of the things that make me excited about this conversation, is because I want to really dig into what it is that's informing us and what makes us spend hours and hours at the beauty salon to get ridiculously straight hair or hair that's not even naturally occurring within our cultures and ethnic backgrounds. And then also like what that's meant because of the stereotypes and the perceptions that get placed on us for having our natural curly hair, regardless of what texture it is. Texturism is a huge thing, so we can talk about that. But like, what happens when we go through all of this and then we see people who now all of a sudden are taking what was oppressed on us and we were judged for and like
and still are judged for?
Yes.
You know damn well when you walk into like a job interview with your natural curly hair, like you know exactly what like the thought process is behind. It's like, oh, you look unruly, you don't look put together.
Mm-hmm.
When a woman without ethnic hair wants to do something ethnic, everybody's like, oh my gosh, box braids. I'm like, wait, what? I used to get made fun of for having my cornrows in school.
Mm-hmm.
Like I used to get hardcore made fun of. So I'm just like, all of a sudden, everything is trending. The box braids, dreadlocks, curly hair,
Mm-hmm.
big time trending.
Mm-hmm.
Even like the brushed out look, like women will curl their hair really tight and then brush it out. And I'm like,
what you doing there?
Don't have frizz.
Yeah. I thought we were doing frizz. I thought frizz was bad. Oh, you want frizz now?
That's a good one, frizz. Because we got history, we got cultural appropriation, and we got our own personal stories.
Yeah.
Where to start?
I remember so much. Okay, so well, first of all, let's talk about this book. Okay, so once we decided that we wanted to talk about hair, Narete did us the honors and found this really awesome book called Hair Story.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. Let's talk about some of the stuff that like we uncovered. Some of the stuff was new to me, some of it wasn't, but I love this. I love this so much.
Do you want to start with some things?
I want you to tell me what you learned. Let's talk about it.
One of the, so this is specifically, I'll kind of just share a little bit about how I found the book first. So I've been reading Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome by Dr. Joy Gurl, and on her recommendations of, in her book, she suggested to check out this book. Because she talks a lot about white standards or a Eurocentric standard. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Get it. Okay. But yeah, she talks about the Eurocentric standards and how it's really affected specifically Black individuals and the community. And so this book was brought up and we're talking about hair today. And so I was like, y'all gotta check this out. But I just loved, because it talks about like one of the first like opening, I guess like the first page kind of talked about the significance of hair as a complex language within Africa, like within many of the traditions, and how hair was used to like send messages, like literally write a message, wrap it up and put it into their hair. And then some other things with like, it represented what clan you are from, what age, religion, ethnicity, identity, wealth, status. So there's a complex language to what hair represented. And I just kind of think about what that got me thinking about is how also another thing that really spoke to me was like the spiritual connection between hair being the closest part to the heavens, to your ancestors, to spirit, to like the essence self, and how, people would, braid their hair representing in the Native American tradition, their mind, their body and spirit, and weave it together to strengthen, braid it together to strengthen those aspects of themselves. And what that all has got me thinking about is how that language in itself, like, because we talk about the actual language we speak, but that language and its closeness and ties to spirituality, to who we are, our identity, having that taken and stripped away, and not having that, not being able to learn about this, from generation to generation, like, that's a whole, like, identity lost, like a part of ourselves that is gone.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Like, straight up, that is so huge, because you think about just, and not just Black women, obviously Latin women, Indigenous women, and all of the different women from the diaspora of African culture and heritage through pilgrimage, like, we all have such a complicated history with our hair, and that it's always been so deeply connected to identity. More so women who have thicker texture, coarser hair, kinkier hair, tighter curls, much like myself, really endure and struggle a lot. And so it's so interesting when you now bring in the historical context of, like, what hair meant to us, for our ancestors, what they had to go through, and it being stripped from the moment. Like, actually, so in that book that you recommended, Hair Story, I was reading through there, and they talked about how the dehumanizing and humiliating process began before they even got to the shores of what is now the United States, about how they would shave their heads before even leaving the shores of the continent of Africa, so that they couldn't identify one another, so that they couldn't be able to carry with them their own self-esteem and self-worth. And so fast forwarding, I'm just looking back, again, the glimpses that we even shared amongst ourselves about our own struggles and our own connection with our hair, to just know that it's so deep, and, like, we're only experiencing the weight of the societal pressures, and like, that gets projected on us. It blows my mind that it's more than just, people being all up in my face showing their microaggressions. I'm like, let me touch your hair. I'm just asking this question. I'm like, oh, I hate it. It's so gross.
It's cringeworthy. It's just cringeworthy.
It is.
It's like, no, it's not okay to pet people.
No.
Is we fucking?
Is you paying the bill?
Is we in a relationship? Why do you have your hands on my hair?
Exactly.
That's definitely a situation. That's very common.
Yeah. It so is. And so to hear that, like, to learn about that, it's heartbreaking, for me to learn what my ancestors went through, when it came to their hair, and to know that, like, ooh, some of the struggles that I have, it could be way worse. So, like, I'm very grateful for what little progress we have had. But also, damn, that is what dominant culture wanted to assert. That's what they wanted to strip away, was that sense of power, and that sense of pride and communication, that self-expression, that natural self-expression. Let me just say that one more again for the people in the back, because we're going to circle back to this thought in itself, but the natural self-expression that is exuded through our hair and our relationship and how we style it is so deeply rooted into our culture that it far supersedes just a fashion trend. It becomes a trend for non-Black people, non-ethnic individuals, non-brown, I'm just gonna say non-brown people. It becomes a trend when you want to try it on. But this is like real life. This is our heritage. This is our ancestry. So I'm gonna just leave it there, right? I'm gonna leave it right there. I'm gonna put a little pause on that piece, and we'll come back to it.
I have to say, like, when you search up a hairstyle, what pops up? It's non people of color wearing the hairstyle.
I gotta look. top hairstyle, right?
Like, I used to do the little bantu knots when I was a kid.
Mhm.
I looked it up the other day because I was like, wait, how do I actually properly section this? Like, I need to revisit this. And I couldn't find a black woman. I couldn't find a brown woman for like a while on the page. And I'm like, I had to actually type in African American because I'm like, no, I don't want to see.
First of all, it's not going to even look the same. Like,
exactly, we don't have the same hair. Like, you have no texture, and I do. Like, why are you doing this? And then, like, straight hair, like, if you're doing that style, you got like little wispies sticking out because it's not meant for you.
It's okay, Gianna, we want frizz. Frizz is in now.
That's not frizz. That's like you got like two little, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think what makes it hard though. It's like when we're constantly being told that's not acceptable. Oh wait, now it is.
Mm-hmm.
It really, again, I feel like it hurts the soul and it brings up these soul wounds. And something going back to like the history, I was looking up just like the Filipino history. My dad's Filipino, and kind of like that, like what kind of is going on that, and regards to the history of hair. And same thing, very Eurocentric. And they had a saying called I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, kulot, which means curly plague. So they believe that if you had curly, wavy hair, that was a plague put on you. And I mean, and just like believing a plague. Like, now what do we think about when we think about plagues? I'm thinking like I got like spots on, like welts and shit all over my body, but like to have curly hair and that plague, yeah, that's like heartbreaking. How many generations believed that?
Yeah. And like, what's that impact now on today?
A lot of pain and anger. A lot of pain and anger.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to speak for anybody else.
I got some anger.
But there's a lot of anger.
Totally.
Especially because, like, Whitney, you were 25, you said, when you very first wore your hair natural. Like, that's painful. I was 28. Narete, how old were you?
I was 25 when I literally learned how to like not have to wash my hair every day. Because that's what I thought. If I wanted like my hair to stay like nice and curly, I had to wash it every single day. So 25.
Oh my gosh. And like
painful. Like, be ashamed of actually how you physically look. For any amount of time, let alone 20 plus years.
Yeah. It was definitely within my early 20s when I like actually stopped like straightening my hair.
Man.
Also, side note, I follow a lot of like mixed curly hair, just like people on Instagram. And now all of these things have been popping up, right? All the things. And for the first time, I saw curly hair extensions.
Really?
Yes. And I was surprised because that was my first time ever seeing curly hair with all the different textures.
Oh, because I'm a curly hair extension connoisseur. So that's why I'm like, what do you mean you didn't see this?
Well, because when I was younger in high school, it was like I was getting extensions, like clip-in extensions, but it was always for
straight hair.
Yeah, so I must be late to the game because when I looked at it, I was like, whoa, they actually do like curly hair, like all of the different textures. That was new to me. I was like, wow, they finally started doing this. Apparently not.
It's okay though, because like I definitely went through my phase of like, I want straight, or I want just like a slight like body curl for my extensions, to then like, no, I want like, give me that Italian body wave. What is this Peruvian thing? Like, give me the curl and texture. I'm trying to be all fierce and stuff. But my hair, my texture, like literally, it wasn't until this, within the last 3 years where I actually sought out texture that mimicked my own. Before, it was texture that definitely was not naturally occurring within my 2 Black parents producing a Black child. Like, that wasn't the hair texture that I was going to get. But I totally, now that I have appreciation for having kinky hair extensions that I can clip in, or I can sew in, or do whatever to add the length and add the volume, I'm so grateful, because now I feel powerful with my hair texture. But I totally get where you're coming from, of like, you wouldn't have known when either all that's being presented to you is this.
Like, what do you actually have access to?
Yeah.
Unless you're going to an ethnic salon. Like, if you're going to the standard salon that you will find on every corner, nobody that looks like you will be there. And they'll be like, oh yeah, we have the one lady who cuts curly hair. And it's like, I'm scared. I'm terrified. What do you mean? Lady who cuts curly hair. And you can't actually give me, you can't do braids. You can't do any of the having access to like ethnic hairstyles and all of the extensions and everything else. Like, it's just not, it's not accessible for, like, Whitney, we tried to find a woman, and I was YouTubing some stuff on how to do some hairstyles, because I'm like, listen, I can't find anybody in this state. I'm gonna have to learn.
That's okay. We're gonna save this money. I'm gonna come up. Let's do a hair date.
Literally, I had my friend come over the other day, and we were chopping away at my hair, because I literally was doing this, went on my phone looking up who cuts curly hair on the island. I want to look at all, on Instagram, on all the things, could not find one freaking person, because like you said, it's like, I don't trust, like, one, if you don't have curly hair, I don't trust you to cut my hair, because I've had so many situations where I've gone to salons and they straighten my hair and then they cut my hair. And then when I take a shower, my hair is like,
cut my hair wet. If you even come at me talking about we need to dry your hair, I'm like, listen, it's time to run.
Yeah. I was
a safe environment, because you should be able. There is shrinkage, but you should kind of like. Didn't you go to school for this? This is your craft, right? So why are you only being taught how to cut straight hair?
That one.
Why? Yeah. You should actually know how to cut all of the textures of Black women and women's hair. Like, you should know how to do that. Like, I should be able to go to a non-ethnic person, a non-brown person, non-Black person, and have full trust that you know how to throw in some beautiful braids, beautiful twists, like, what all the things, how to cut my curly hair. Like, no. And they're just not taught.
It isn't. And that is such a frustrating thing, because fortunately, I grew up, close family friend was a hairstylist. Her brother was a barber. He went on to open up a barber college, and she had her shop next door, and now she's like doing the damn thing with like all things beauty. I got a chance to go to her as my beautician, but like once I was like making my own money, wasn't paying for my hair to get done, then I had to find like whoever was affordable. I don't understand, with there being 2 cosmetology schools in this like 50,000 population college town. We got 2 cosmetology schools, 2. And yet the people that come out don't fully feel competent, and one of them, we had 3 at a time, so 2, yeah. And one of them is a Black cosmetology school now, but like, how are you, like, this is all you do. This is all you have, one curriculum. What the fuck are you doing? Why are people not teaching how to work on ethnic hair? Why is it oh, well, you just need to go see a Black stylist and then like they handle all of that thing? Why aren't people taking on the onus to if you want to make some money, diversify your skill set so that you can widen your clientele, because all money is green. But why would you not want to have that competitive advantage? Like, I don't understand that as a business person. You're doing yourself such disservice. Why would you not want to learn? Why would you not? Instead, you only want to learn whenever you can do it for yourself. I'm gonna clutch the pearls on that one.
I don't know if either of you ladies get this, like, when you walk into a salon, it's like, well, we don't have a lot of clients with curly hair or ethnic hair. And I'm like,
it's usually your hair type is usually what I get is, I don't have someone that does this with your hair type.
It's like, inappropriate.
Oh man.
Discriminative. Is that a word? I don't know. Yes.
Yeah.
Charged extra. No, I should get the same price as everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Or it's going to take more time.
More because it's got a pattern in it. We got a curl pattern, so you're going to charge extra money. It's terrible.
Mm-hmm. There's so much within this hair culture that, like, Tina, like, seriously, I resonate with this about the comments that come from, like, even at a young age, going into the hair salon and getting my hair done, or just being around my aunts and my mom, or just like people random, just making comments about the difficulty of your hair texture, or the difficultness, or, ooh, you didn't get the good hair, or, ooh, you got the bad hair, or all these comments that then become this internalized oppression. And it's coming from every angle. And then on top of that, when you are going with your own hard-earned money to go get a service done, like you said, Gianna, and then you're met with, oh, we don't serve your kind. Because that's essentially like what's being
That's exactly what it is. So it's like, and then like you might have better luck in Denver because there are more people, and then there's a dance because they're like, I don't want to say some racist, but here it comes.
You're so
they are. They're doing all, and I'm like, what are you doing? Stop moving around. Spit it out. If you're gonna be racist, just be racist. It's fine. You want to send me to Denver for what?
Do you have a name or not, though? Like,
right? I'm like, really? Help. It's wild.
It is.
And you kind of just like, look, we're all laughing about it, but like,
yeah. How many stylists did you go to?
Normalized, but like, I know each of you. I know the pain experience behind it because we talk about it. Like, and it's just kind of Black women and brown women have to just kind of like, do the, this little nod and dance. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're making me uncomfortable, but okay.
Yeah, because last time I checked, it was just hair.
Mm-hmm. And like,
just hair.
Whitney, you brought this up before about like doing something different with your hair that like maybe a style you don't wear on a day-to-day basis or whatever. And like people literally making you feel so uncomfortable. Like it's this huge ordeal or like this huge deal. And it's like, I just put braids in my hair. Like, I don't know why you're singling me out and like why we've got a parade going right now with my hair, because when you want to do your curling iron, I'm not like, oh my gosh.
That is so great. That little fluff up top that you're still
I love it.
That's this height that you're getting up there with the bump. Like, get it, girl. Get it. Like, yeah, that's
Like, no, you don't need, like, you can say, hey, your hair looks beautiful, but you don't really need to, like, comment outside of it. And I'm pretty sure I may have been guilty of this before, too. I just get excited when Black women, like, get their hair done and it doesn't emulate a white woman's hair. I genuinely am like, oh, hell yes.
totally.
Like, get it. Like, we're doing the damn thing, because 10 years ago, that wouldn't, like, Black women were not expressing their hair.
It wasn't allowed. It was unkempt. It was unruly. It was too bushy. That was something that I read in that book, The Hair Story. What'd you call it?
Puffy.
Oh,
People
puffy.
like it's too puffy.
Like, these descriptors are so horrific. And in that book, they were talking about like how they described Black people's hair, and how, again, like in a dehumanizing way of saying that it's woolly. So you're making, like, I'm now the equivalent of a sheep. Apparently, like, that's my hair. Bushy, or, you know, like, wild. When you describe people and their hair in a dehumanizing way, in which it literally, you are now like, you're detracting, you're putting down, you are being so disrespectful. And the hair that just grows, like, my hair just grows like this. It's gross. All to say that there's only a good kind of hair, only a respectable kind of hair, only the good kind of professional hair that we should have in our midst.
Yeah. Professional.
I'm curious too, ladies. You know, we like talking hair. I would like to open that up to all body hair, and kind of go there and talk about how this Eurocentric has affected literally how we perceive all of our body hair on us.
Body
hair. Huh?
We're talking about body hair?
Yeah, yep.
Okay. You're like, I just want to make sure it was on the right.
Yes. Because I know, so 3 years ago for me, I like stopped shaving my armpits and my legs. And as you know, myself, like as me reclaiming myself. And I remember like when I was younger, I would shave my arms. Like I would literally shave everything except the hair on my head. And because that was already being straightened. And you know, and what comes with that, like the hours, the every single day, like having to shave, and like, oh, is it soft enough? Am I going to be accepted by this person? You know, for me, it was like, is this man going to like think I'm attractive if I like, I have to shave because it's gross if I don't, is what happened for me.
I got that narrative a lot. That was a message that came in loud and clear. At 12 and 13 and even 14, I think, I experimented with shaving my arms, just to see like what it would be like and if I would like it. And I just found that like it took more time. But my arms weren't even hairy. Like that's the other thing, is that like my arms, they just had like the natural amount of occurring hair. They weren't bad. I definitely had noticed other people who had hair on their arm, and it was it's not wrong or right, but like they had more hair, and it was thicker, darker than mine. And like that, I never had that problem, but I felt like, oh, well, everyone else is shaving, and apparently there's something wrong with having arm hair. So therefore I need to remove it, as well as, you know, remove the hair on my legs. Although I also personally just wanted soft, smooth legs. I wanted to experience that.
But like, where did that come from? You know, where did that idea in itself?
Teen magazine for me.
Exactly. It's things that are like, I mean, that have really affected, you know, identifying of like what beauty standards are. And like I remember like my dad would be like, even to this day, like ooh, that's gross. Like, you don't shave. Like, what does your husband think? You know? And I told Brody, I'm like, I need you to talk to my dad, because like, I'm grateful that Brody, my husband, like, just loves me for how I show up and how I am. And like, that's definitely been healthy for me, you know, because being with someone who would be like, ew, that's gross.
Mm-hmm.
Like, one, bye.
Yep. And we're just
with.
I'm trying to reclaim myself, okay? But I think, and that going to be said, like, I think it's different from like a person like wanting to experience and shave and, you know, do whatever feels comfortable for them. And for me, what has helped me is like the why. Why am I doing this? You know, is it because of this Eurocentric white norm that, you know, has been telling me all my life through media and all this stuff that these are the beauty standards?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not accepting that anymore. And so that's my personal experience with that. And but I do want to honor, like, me saying my experience, just because I don't shave. Like, I don't want others to think that I'm judging you if you do shave. That's, you know, this is my personal experience. Do as you do.
I shave my arms too. I started when I was like 13 years old, and I think I've stopped every so often, and I don't like the way it looks. Like, I have dark hair, and in the winter time, the palest I am, and I'm just like, and it's a lot of hair. Like, I have hairy arms, and I'm just like, no, it's not for me. It's not it. It is not it. But it also is, there are days where I'm like, oh, I have to shave my body. And I'm like, and that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Also, like, my boyfriend is he's whatever you want to do, it's your body. I think you're sexy. I think you're beautiful, whatever you want to do. I like the way it feels. Like, I like that silky smooth, but also it becomes like a thing, and you're in the shower forever. And I don't do anything else. Like, right? The shower is the biggest part of my day, because I will shave pretty much every day to have that like clean, smooth, silky look, because I'm like, but what if people see the hair on my legs? God forbid you see my hairy ankles. But I'm like, no, we're not gonna be lazy here today. We're not gonna do it. And like you're saying there, I'd say, like, where does that come from? The fact that I'm like, we're not gonna be lazy. It's body hair. What I'm not being put together, and I'm not lazy because I don't feel like shaving today. But why do I feel like I have to shave if I'm gonna wear a dress?
Yeah.
That I don't like. I do like the appearance of being shaved. I like the feeling of being shaved. I love the actual after effect, but I enjoy the process, and it feels like a chore every shower.
Mm.
And I shave my sideburns, so it's like I shave in the shower, and then I get out, and I have a separate razor for my sideburns, and I'm like, oh, why can't I just feel good about this?
Keep your sideburns.
Yeah, I definitely have things with like that. Honestly, I've experienced all, like, in my own way. Experience what you're saying resonates with me, and the sideburns. Like, I haven't ever shaved them. However, I've definitely had, like, been trying to, you know, hide them, because I don't know, like, it's, I guess somehow in my thoughts, like, it's like more masculine to have that, which is not true. It's not true. And this is the thing. It's like, I feel like, you know, whether it's this time or just, you know, really starting to, as when you said, reclaim ourselves, it's the questioning everything, re-examining, bringing it to light. why do I do this? Does it really serve me? Am I really, you know, like, where does this come from? Tina, one of your things about, you know, youth and the attraction with hair and body, and, you know, as we age, that is huge, because that was like like when we're talking, we straightened our hair, we, you know, that's where everything kind of began, is trying to get into these beauty standards that really made us deceive who we were, our nature. And that's sad.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, back to the attraction to the youth, and when we start talking about shaving, and especially like shaving your pubic hair, you know, like in the 70s, people, like, it was so natural. Like, women had the bushes, they had the pubic hair. It was, no one second guessed it, no one thought anything about it. You either trimmed it up and kept it neat, but there's still presence of hair, or you just let it all grow out and you embraced everything it was to be a human. Not male, female, human. You just embraced what it was like to be human. And then, you know, as beauty standards started to shift, and what we thought was attractive, and what we thought, well, hold on, pause. I want to speak with intention. What the male gaze found attractive, what men decided to deem that, ooh, this fulfills my perverted sexual fantasy, because when you started straightening your hair as a teenager, you know, you go through puberty, like one of the first signs next to menstruation that you are maturing is that you now have pubic hair. So asking a woman to remove her pubic hair so that she looks a little bit more prepubescent, go back to that why. Now, if you want to, if you shave and it's purely for your own personal reasons, for all of that, I go in between shaving and not shaving. I kind of enjoy, I play this game with myself of like, let's just see how long we can go, because, you know, it's swimsuit weather for those who have access to a pool between business hours. I'm a little salty, whatever. Anyways, in my swimsuit, you know, like, I personally don't like the aesthetic of having a bush that is quaffing outside of my suit. So, you know, like, I do some damage control, and I trim shit up, and, you know, but I also don't, I went through a phase where, like, I was getting electric hair removal, or laser hair removal on. I did like the Brazilian, because I'm like, okay, you know, I want to make sure that we can just get as hairless as possible, or at least cut down on the density, because I just don't want it to be super thick. And first and foremost, laser hair removal only works effectively on people who have lighter skin. It is actually not created for people with darker skin. So the effectiveness on it, on me, was actually not the same as it would have been on my white partner at the time.
Why is that, though? I'm interested to, okay, we don't have to answer that part, but
I don't know, because everything is catered.
Yeah, they give you like a little spiel of why it may or may not work for you, and they always say, like, on a Black person with dark skin, this won't work. Because I went in to get it done too. So I had like a few sessions, and they were like, no, you have light enough skin to get it done. And like, they tell you something about, I consider it bullshit when people start talking about like it can't penetrate melanin or whatever.
The laser can't find the hair follicle, it gets confused, and so then you get burned, and then oops, so sign this thing so that we're not liable.
I'm just like, oh, yeah, exactly. Like, I'm sorry, what? No, figure it out, because there's no scientific reason as to why laser hair removal can't work for different skin tones, and why it only works for light to white skin tones.
Yeah.
Thank you for, I had no idea. I've been too, when it comes to laser hair removal and waxing, I'm a baby. I get too scared. Damn, thanks for sharing that. I did not know that.
Yeah, it's kind of silly I'm like totally on that same train of thought with you, Gianna, because once you go through the experience, you're like, then depending on whether or not, you know, what your skin tone is and how effective it's going to be. The pain, I will say, like, it's not comfortable, but it's not horrible. It hurts less than getting a tattoo. It's kind of like getting, oh, it was horrible for you? Okay.
My tattoo my face before I let you zap me with that. It's inhumane. It's like a little blood zapper. Whitney's over here like, I don't feel shit. I'm like, oh my God. Executed on your vagina.
Oof, ow.
It's rough.
It's not pleasant, but it's not horrible. To me, it felt like the equivalent of getting my eyebrows threaded. Like it was, you know, like a repeated plucking and a ripping of the hair. That's kind of what it felt. And I did my armpits too.
Wait, are you talking about laser hair removal?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like that's what the pain level felt like to me. And I don't like pain. Like I consider myself a wuss when it comes to pain, but I feel like if you can get a tattoo, then you can totally withstand. Not that I'm like promoting this, but like to each
I would like to revisit it. I just I didn't have the same pain experience as you.
Maybe the lady just was assumed that like it just wasn't going to work, so she didn't even turn the nozzle up. You know? People be doing the absolute least in these settings.
She's like, oh, okay, honey. Well, thank you for your $4,500. We're just gonna this isn't gonna work for you anyway.
Exactly. But my teen did start. Oh, all to say is that like, yeah, I've definitely had my own back and forth battles with to shave, to not to shave, how much I shave, what I don't shave. Something I really appreciate about now being fully 100% an entrepreneur. I have no office that I have to check into. I don't have to worry about strangers, et cetera, and all of the respectability politics. And then that plus now COVID as the pandemic, it has been really lovely that like I don't have to worry about, so what if I want to take the whole month to not shave my legs? No one's gonna see my fucking legs anyway. It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. And I love that it seems like there's been a collective movement or acknowledgement to, at least with this pandemic time, that hey, we need to shift our ideas of what like beauty standards actually are. This requirement for women to be full face of makeup, hair all done to a T, legs shaved, pussy shaved, armpits shaved, eyebrows, like we can now just let our hair grow naturally and then do what actually makes us feel good and not this hotness meter that we have to check into every single time we step foot outside of our house. And I really love this piece about where I'm at in my life and what it seems like people are taking notice of and understanding what's truly important. So I feel like I have a healthy attachment or relationship to my body hair. And I'm excited to see what's happening for the rest of the people who struggle or have felt pressured to have to assimilate when they can absolutely be their hairless or hairy selves or somewhere in between.
Yeah.
That's how it should be. Okay, can we talk about, I realize that like we've been at 48 minutes and can we finally talk about white folks wearing dreads? I'm ready to talk about this shit. I've been trying to be all like, okay, nice. Cultural appropriation. Can we move to that segment?
And we're sliding in. We gave you a really nice, calm, educational first hour. The second hour, get your shit together, okay?
For real. Okay, so I have to, you guys know this, but for our viewers, y'all may not know this unless like we're good friends and we talk all the time. Or you just know me. So for me, what like really made me super stoked about offering up this topic for this conversation all started several weeks ago when I was on Instagram and I followed the hashtag goddess locks. And like, first of all, let me just describe what goddess locks are. I think there's a couple of variations, but the one that like speaks to me is when the hair is locked and it's long and it's got like a little curl to it. And then there's loose curls that are mixed in with the locks. Like that is, it's some people, most white women are calling them mermaid locks. Some people, because love our mermaids. Some people have referred to them as, I don't know, goddess locks. That's all I got for you. So follow the hashtag if you care, take a look-see. But typically what shows up in my feed is I can often see Black women with the hair locks, and it's so gorgeous. And yes, Jay, been ready to talk about appropriation. I love it. Chime in with all your stories and stuff. I love it. Ooh, cute.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay.
If you don't want to necessarily marry Aaron, right?
Can you just marry all of us? Because that hair, like, and your soul and your all of it. Anyway, so I follow this hashtag. What shows up typically is our Black women, but for a really interesting amount of time, pretty much start of quarantine, I started seeing a takeover on this hashtag, and I kept seeing pictures of white women with dreadlocks. White women with dreadlocks. Now, this is the time in which I would encourage, I would challenge, I would dare, in like the friendliest way, tag your friends. If you've got some white friends who are wearing dreadlocks, if you yourself are a viewer and you stumbled upon our feed, welcome, and you wear dreadlocks, like please stay for this conversation, because this piece, it fired me up. I am typically the person who, I don't go out of my way to comment on anybody's anything. If we're not friends, we're not connected. Like I don't have the energy, I don't have the time. I am typically not starting wars with people online. But I felt called because I was physically ill. I looked at this picture and this picture physically made me feel ill. I felt so uncomfortable, viscerally. This is what it is like. This is my experience. But this is what it's like to be in a brown body and then to see someone who is outside of your culture happily wearing their dreadlocks as if it is not a care in the world. So I got curious. I had to go see, I had to investigate. So I clicked on that image that took me to a little hair establishment that is in Florida called Rollies to the Sky. They are a white hair establishment, hair salon, that specializes in doing dreadlocks for their clients. As you can guess, the majority of their clientele is white. They themselves are white women. And through looking through their profile, I saw two people who look like they were biracial. And I saw one dude who's maybe a rapper who they shouted out, and it was all like, oh, he's so pass through, da da da, we love him, da da da, thanks for coming to our thing. That's it. Everybody else was white. And all of these hairstylists, they themselves have pictures of them with dreads in. And it's so sickening and it's so gross that, like, not only are you taking this hairstyle that is steeped in African culture, and now you are perpetrated, like you just took it and now you're commodifying it and now you're selling it back to me, even though I'm not your clientele.
And you don't know how to work with my hair, right?
But you're selling this back. You've now commodified my culture and you're selling it back to me. That's disgusting.
For double the price.
So anyways, so that sparked the need for this conversation. And let's talk about this, because this is becoming like more and more of a thing in which Black people we've lost jobs and job opportunities. We have been stereotyped. We have been refused service. We have been just oppressed in every sense of the world. Now we're in July 2020. If you've not been paying attention to the civil rights movement that is happening, this uprising, if you don't understand why this is an issue at this point, I don't know if we're the conversation for you. But if you do get it, then you could understand that to take something that has been such an issue for us and we are denied and diminished and othered, then you put it on and now all of a sudden it's edgy. It's alternative. It is, ooh, exotic. That's a problem. That's a problem. Like that is inherent systemic racism right there. Like culturally appropriating a hairstyle, a hair design, something that is connected to spiritual roots, something that is connected to protective hairstyling, something that is connected in every single angle to our own survival. You've now decided, mine's, it's so fetch. This is what we're doing now. I can't handle it. I can't handle it. So anyways, I wrote a note. I did invite them. I wasn't rude. I was very direct. And I asked them about like their clientele. I asked them, I didn't ask, I told them how it's really hard to support a company that says that they stand in solidarity because they had one black square, you know, one black square to support their, you know, we stand with the movement, we support Black lives. How are you supporting Black lives?
By doing.
Yes, please tell me. How is that in support of Black lives when you are stripping, ripping, commodifying, reselling it? How?
Yeah, make money off of
it. Okay, that's my rant. What y'all got to say?
How I feel.
How you feel? How you feel, G? Tell me how you feel. I'm tagging you in.
I get violently angry. Like, I was in Boulder the other day, and I was with my friend, and Jay was actually on the way to take the photographs for the company, right? But we're sitting, and my friend is really dark-skinned Black man, and I look behind him, like we're facing each other talking, and I look behind him, and it's these two white people, and they are white. This isn't a mixed situation. This isn't like, I know the features. Okay. Yeah. Two white people staring at us. I've got, you know, my whole shebang going, my hair. And they've got dreadlocks. And I'm just like, with like straight bangs.
Oh, that's my favorite. Oh, that is my favorite. When I see the whole, like, you didn't even try. Like, you took this, but then you didn't even try. What is this? What is this, Karen? What is that?
I'm like, and it's, I'm kind of triggered anytime I see somebody who's not Black with dreadlocks. I mean, I'm even more so triggered when it's a white person, but I'm just kind of like, I saw a photograph the other day and I presumed it was a white man, and then like did investigating on the page and still couldn't kind of figure out, like, are you mixed? And is that why you've got dreadlocks? Or you just think that this shit's appropriate? Because I'm getting really sick of having to be so angry about it. And now I'm like, do I say something to the person?
Very islandy. I like it.
Nothing's happening back here.
I don't know.
Mopeds.
Is it like, it's exhausting. It's exhausting to have to be so pissed off because it's just like, it's draining. Why the fuck do you think it's appropriate? And I get it. I get why you think it's appropriate. It's what your ancestors have been doing for 400 plus years. Like, I get that you think that this shit's okay. But like, you're literally, you're affecting every Black person who has fought so hard or had to literally cut off their dreadlocks, like you said, Whitney, in order to get a job.
They literally had to pass a law to say that you could not fire people, discriminate against them based off of their hair style or their hair texture. Like,
all of these Black cheerleaders, these little Black girls in high school.
Oh my gosh.
They can't have they have to straighten their hair. while Jenny from the fucking block can do whatever the fuck she wants with her hair.
Yes.
I mean, it just makes me angry. Like,
Jonna, you hit something right there for me about, like, I was in cheerleading, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
If it was half up, half down straight, and a ponytail straight, like, that hit home for me, what you just said.
I watched a news thing on that. Like, this mom was defending her daughter, and she happened to be like the city councilwoman, or she was some.
You told me this, Whitney.
Oh, okay. Tears, everything. Like, how? I'm so glad you brought that up. So glad you brought that up.
It's disgusting. It's like you have zero ethics, zero morals. Like, you know damn well what you're doing. You know it's not okay, and you know how Black people feel about it. Like, and you just have the audacity to walk around like that. Like, I'm gonna need to see that you are mixed. Sorry, we're gonna have a conversation. Like, I'm gonna need you, because if I can't tell and you just romping around, I'm gonna have to go up to every white person and be like,
"Where's your card? I need to see
your parents is Black.
Show me your card."
I just want to know.
I feel like you know what this kind of sparks for me, Gianna, is like the fact that people are very ignorant. They are so, like, I mean, we have a lot of learning and unlearning to do. And I just want to say, like, we kind of been talking about the media. The media has so much to do with this, because as I was looking at, you know, the internet, what are like the top questions that come up? Who's allowed to wear head wraps, which is what we haven't gotten to yet. But head wraps, who's allowed to get dreads? Like, it all kind of falls under that. And the thing is, like, what's being said is like everybody's allowed to, you know, it's not
Who said that? White people.
Google, okay. But like the thing is, like, something I want to bring up to people who are white are questioning, you know, well, what, I don't understand, why is it appropriating? And or the other thing that happens, which is like, oh, well, a Black woman or a brown woman or an Indigenous woman gave this to me, said I could do it with my hair, this, so. And I think being aware that this is, as it is an individual situation, it's also a cultural situation. So maybe, yes, that one individual showed you how to, you know, maybe put those dreads in, or showed you how to tie your hair in a head wrap. The fact is that we're talking about culture. We're talking about multi-generational trauma when it comes to hair. And the least you could do is have some cultural sensitivity, have some cultural respect that it's not a part of your culture, and to honor that and not wear it or not do it. Yeah, and I think, you know, so for those of you who don't know, are still like, you know, educate yourself on the history. That's what we're trying to, you know, come forth with. Educate yourself on history. We're doing our own history shit. I learned a bunch. Learned a lot, and I encourage others to do the same, because it hurts people. It's triggering for people. And just because that one person showed you or did it for you, like, try to have some compassion and awareness that this is a cultural situation.
Yeah. I want to piggyback off of that. Because absolutely, do the research and don't just stop at like one source. Check to see, like, where are you getting this information from? Are you getting this only from a white voice? And if you're only getting it from a white voice, well, then that's going to support the echo chamber that you already move in, consciously or unconsciously, because the world is set up to support your non-Black experience. And so if you're only seeking out resources that are non-Black authored, that's not enough. You need to get more perspectives and more different perspectives, different resources. And when in doubt, you know, ask yourself why. Why is it that you want to wear this particular hairstyle? And then I also challenge you and invite you to ask yourself that in every other regard. Don't stop just at hair. Your nails. Why are you getting your nails done in that particular way? Why are you wearing your makeup in this particular way? Why are you wearing this particular clothing style? Why are you speaking? Why are you using this language? Ask yourself why you are wanting to pick up these different aesthetic things and incorporate them into your life, because you might find some more answers. And once you get to that specific answer, then go back and do that research again and base that answer, your why, up against what it is that you came across.
Yeah.
But yes, recognizing like the impact that you're having. Ultimately, the impact is the space that the three of us are coming from, is that, you know, my impact outside of constantly having to explain my own personal hair aesthetic, my own personal hair experience, my own identity constantly to non-Black people. But then I now have to look and see someone else emulating my exact cultural identity.
Yeah.
And it physically makes me feel ill. And so that's the impact that's happening. Your comfort, your desire to meet your own personal aesthetic goals, if you're choosing that over the impact that it's having on an entire community, that's a really, really deep issue to really sit with and unpack. Because there's a lot to be said about that. Thank you, Nate, for bringing up the, you know, doing the research part, because that is so key and so essential. There was something else I really wanted to add about that, and I now have forgotten it. It was kind of along the lines of like the impact versus the intent.
Yeah, I love that you brought that up though, because that is like really important. Hopefully it will, you know, how it just pops up again.
It'll come. But it really slides like neatly into like the hair wrap conversation and wrapping your hair. And, you know, that's something that's been on the rise. And I know that we've kind of mentioned it briefly in some of our other conversations. But this idea of, oh, I want to go for this Liz Taylor look. I want to do this, that, or the other. And you're referencing someone from, you know, yesteryear and their aesthetic. But we got to move past yesteryear and go back again to the cultural originations of where did wrapping your hair come from? Like, not just headwear, but wrapping your hair. Where did that originate? Ooh, yes, Jay. Yes. Not even recognizing it. Not even acknowledging. That is, we have to acknowledge. We got to give our street cred to people.
Yeah. Right? There's always like this brush off of, well, like it's a head wrap. Like, and I like it. Okay.
Do it.
Like, let's just be a little bit aware of what is actually happening. Like what you're actually saying, what you're actually doing, and the one brown friend, the one Black friend who taught you how to do it. It's like it's the whole like co-signing for your one white friend. Well, my Black friend said, no, your Black friend is fucking canceled, first of all, because your Black friend didn't teach you about respect for the community as a whole. The generations that came beforehand. Like, that's where your Black friend did not inform you. Proceed with caution.
That's a conversation.
Like, there's just a lack of respect and a brush off. And it's kind of like, well, try to understand why maybe the culture that you're offending, that you're taking from, is upset. and like have some compassion for it and have a conversation where you're not being defensive and shouting out, well, so-and-so taught me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? So-and-so taught me too. But guess what, Buttercup? It's part of my culture. Like,
mm-hmm.
and like, again, like I said earlier in the show, like I really had to work with and be like, I don't feel like I need to be accepting, because it's not my responsibility to be okay with having to like share things that haven't been shared with me or that I haven't been able to express because, again, wearing a head wrap in the workplace
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
wasn't acceptable. I wasn't allowed to wear a head wrap in school, but you would see Joey with his backwards cap. Like, I wasn't allowed to do all of that. So
Mm-hmm.
let's just have like an actual conversation where you don't look like a dumbass.
I'm trying to help you.
I really am. I really am, because it's not appropriate anymore. It never was appropriate, but like, cut the bullshit. And what are you rapping?
Yeah.
A head wrap isn't for the head, it's for the hair. Let's be really specific here. A head wrap is not for your head. Unless, okay, I'm gonna, if you're in the military, and I know that the men all like wrap their heads to keep them cool, whatever, don't bring that shit home with you. We're not going out for drinks. We're not.
I also want to like, oh, sorry, I don't want to cut you out.
No,
cut you off.
I'm rambling at this point. So
well, there's like, I know that Whitney and I were talking about this, because another thing I hear is like, oh, well, from like white people or people who are not of color is like, well, I don't have like any traditions, or I don't have like.
Yes, you do.
mm-hmm.
Yes, you do.
Instagram, I just posted a lovely video.
Okay, so yes, and that's what I also want to just put a little spotlight on, is that like, learn about y'all's culture. Like, it's so much easier for a white person to figure out their lineage. Oh, I'm Scottish, or I'm this, I'm that. Like, there are, like, it's so much more accessible for you or them. Like, I don't know who I'm talking to at this moment. Whoever's watching, if you're white, to learn about your culture. For people of color, it is a lot harder, and we know why, because everything, as we've been talking about, has been like stripped away. And because there are, like, Whitney, you were sharing with me, and I know that Gianna has posted some things about it, like hairstyles and head coverings that are part of white lineage or white culture, European culture. So if you want to connect to culture,
connect to your culture.
Yes, that is it.
Discover your culture. Why are you so fascinated with everybody else's culture?
I think in general, I am honestly tired of hearing white people express that they are like, they don't have culture, or because that's not true. And the fact that you can very easily look at history and see, and learn about that.
What you giggling about?
I don't know. I just feel like I just like felt like a smart ass comment, and it washed away. But then I looked over at Whitney's face, and like, you were just smiling, and I was like, I wonder if she's thinking what I'm thinking. Like,
I just have a whole lot of things that popped into my head as I was thinking. I was like, yep, there's that point, that point. Yes, speak on that point. That's true. It's true. Sorry.
Like towards white people.
Yeah. Oh, Yeah,
without sounding like I'm excluding, I'm just kind of like, white people do play a really big role in identity theft of people of color and Black people, regarding hair, regarding culture, really regarding everything. So it's not
yeah.
I don't want to exclude or misdirect, but like specifically, like this is a battle. Hair is a very specific battle with white people appropriating it.
Mm-hmm.
And like, no, I'm not going to get angry when I see a Hispanic woman wearing cornrows. I'm just not going to, I don't get angry about it like I'm going to get angry about, I'm like, well, here it is, you're stealing another thing.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I feel like I just went off on like a very random tangent.
No. No, girl, you were straight on topic. No, you're fine. I hate that, like, every time that I'm about to like think that I'm going to say something, then it like disappears. I hate that. But it is absolutely that case of who are the main perpetrators of cultural appropriation. I'm not going to say that like we don't appropriate shit, like that we've not for a minute, like early 2000s.
I'm on that though, Whitney. Like, we live in white America and we've had to.
Totally.
Assimilate. I call it a simulation. I'm not appropriating shit. You wanted me to be white? Well, here you go.
Oh, I'm not talking about white culture, but I'm talking about like other cultures. So like Asian cultures. So like in the early 2000s, there was this like trend of like wearing the
eyeliner.
Well, okay, so there's that. There are some makeup tricks and stuff that we have been guilty of, but no, like traditional dresses that were very like Asian woman style. Like I cannot think of the appropriate name, and so I
like the traditional
like the little China doll dress, like that typical that the stereotype of this is a traditional attire for Asian women. Is that like that became a trend in which like Black women were wearing that, or they were wearing these hats, or in which so like while I'm noting for those who want to say that like, oh, the cultural appropriation takes place in yes, we definitely are not at fault, but at the rate in which things are co-opted, the Asian culture as a whole is very strong, and their identity, like, that is not making an excuse, but nothing has been co-opted so much from other cultures than the cultures of brown people, Black, brown, and indigenous. So much of our cultures and our heritage have been co-opted by the dominant culture. And when you're the dominant culture, then there is no such thing as cultural appropriation, with what you were going to, kimono, thank you, Tina, thank you so much. Is that like, when you're the dominant culture, it is definitely not appropriating. But we can definitely, there is the opportunity to impact other cultures. So I just wanted to name that one little piece of thing. Oh, I finally remembered, y'all, what I was going to say earlier. And that was and it was very much to what Gianni, what you were sharing about, like, oh, my one Black friend showed me how to wrap my hair and da-da-da-da. And Rate, you kind of spoke to this before too, is that when you have a culture or a community that has been oppressed so much and expected to give because we've been exploited to such an extent, that culture and that community may not necessarily know that, like, they do not have the responsibility to give this. We've been trained so much that everything that we have is yours for the taking, because literally that's what happened to us. We've not been able to claim and to make sacred and to hold tight to something because it's been stripped so much away. And so my other little, hey, let's make note of this to all non-Black people, when you're thinking about, like, oh, I want to try on this aesthetic or this hairstyle or this whatever, because your one brown person shared that thing with you, they could have been giving that to you as an act of generosity, as an act of love, of whatever. But also, like, you don't have to always accept it and receive it. It is, you know what, that is yours. Thank you. I appreciate the sentiment behind it. Like, this is such a value. Like, thank you. You can simply say those things. You can acknowledge the greatness of it. You do not have to accept it and take it and then consume it and wear it. And also think about what else has been exploited from this culture, or for the culture of the person that you're sitting across and who's offering you something. Like, keep that in mind, because you don't always know. And that's me. Like, I the first one to tell my little friends as a teenager, like, oh, you want to put some braids in your hair? Well, that's cute. Okay, do that. All right, girl, I see you. Okay. All right. Mostly because it made me somehow feel a little bit safer within my white space of, like, the friends that I had at school. Like, oh, okay, well, if you at least understand me, then, like, maybe you won't enact as much harm. But that microaggression, I didn't realize was actually creating more harm. I didn't know that wasn't something of my culture to give, and that I didn't have to. And so, yeah, that was
you didn't have to.
Mm-hmm. You don't know these things. We don't learn them at all.
None of us have to share our hair with you. None of us have to share any of this. People of color, Black people, do not have to share this. It's no.
Mm-hmm.
So I really don't ask, actually.
And then there's that too.
Don't ask and go educate yourself. And then if you have questions, maybe we can have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe I'm not the right person.
And then there's that too. Narita, what were you about to say?
I was just gonna say, I think this goes into part of, like, reclaiming ourselves and reclaiming our, like, our voice and our identity and, like, our energy and our time. And I think Gianna does a really, like, Gianna, no. Nope. Like, if you're not feeling it, you're not afraid to just say no. And I know there's times where I have felt, like, obligated to, like, help this person, you know, specifically, like, when the Black Lives Matters movement started, like, I had a white person asking me about, like, what is appropriate to be putting on this, like, social media content and so forth. And, like, honestly, I didn't have the energy to be, like, her little
resource.
Yeah. Like, but I couldn't say no, you know? Mm-hmm. And so I think this all comes with, like, reclaiming, like, I know this is something I'm working on. Like, I'm sorry. I do not have the time and space to be that for you. And you need to ask somebody else, maybe an educated white person who can be of assistance to you, because this is my energy. So reclaiming my energy is something I'm working on. And also just kind of what you said and what has been said, Whitney, it's like the aspect of, like, questioning as people of color, as Black, as brown, indigenous, multi-ethnic people, questioning everything. We have to question all of our beliefs, because all of this was indoctrinated, domesticated into us, and it has completely disconnected us with our true nature and who we are. And I'm all about trying to reclaim our roots of spirituality and ancestry. And let me tell you, that ain't gonna happen with me straightening my hair and, like, trying to fit into these norms. Ain't gonna happen. So I encourage whoever's listening to investigate what's going on in your world.
Oh, yes. Like, you just wrapped this whole show up into a nice, neat bow, and, like, signed, still delivered. Damn, I don't even think there's much more that I can even say other than, like,
I'm like, and
that's the whole show. Like, that's literally
off.
Where can people find you guys?
You can find me on Instagram at Whitney Ghaffari. And yeah, on Instagram. My Facebook's a hot fucking mess. Don't find me on there. I'm gonna do better. But at Whitney Ghaffari is where you can find me. And yeah, that's where I live.
G.
Oh, I like had a glitch. Did you? I'm like, my brain was like, speak. You can find me on my Instagram at Gianna Britt. Gianna Britt. Yeah, that's it, right?
I think you have like the underscore thing at the end of your.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm really happy that my beautiful friend knows my own handle.
I've spent a lot of time looking for it, so I
feel like I'm just short.
Is that okay? Also, maybe we can put our little things in on the comments.
Oh.
And then I'm Nerete Yo Peace. You can find me on Instagram as Yo Peace Girl, like Yo Peace, Yo Peace Girl. And on Facebook, I'm Nerete Yo Peace. And you can also find me on nourishingnature.co. I am a soul-centered coach. So if you're looking for soul-centered work, working on healing ancestry, hit me up.
Yes, so many exciting things. I guess I should tell. I'm Nerete. This is literally what I do, and then like I'm the worst because I'm like I don't want to talk about myself. It's fine. But I'm a master coach and marketing strategist. I do business consulting and coaching. So if you ever need help and you are someone who is a change maker, a visionary, looking to enact change within the greater world, you are my people. I don't give a fuck about the people who are looking for more cars, clothes, and dick. I want to help the people who are about the people. So if that is you, and if you're a social entrepreneur, like, yo, hit me up. I've got you on all of leadership, self-empowerment, and all the bomb-ass marketing and business strategies. I'm your girl, and at Whitney Ghaffari. I'm getting better at this. I'm gonna plug myself more. I've got some big things coming up for you guys, so stay tuned. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. I'm excited. We'll see you next month.
Bye.
Bye.